and we're up early the next morning. Well, begin your morning walk at the Campo dei Fiori, a colorful outdoor fruit and vegetable market. Early birds will be rewarded, for it's one of the only places in Rome that have something happening at about 6:30 in the morning, when the vendors are just setting up their stands. And there's several cafes around the Campo dei Fiori that are already pumping out that dark fuel to get you going. They open as early as 6 a.m. And so if you're an early bird, or if you're still waking up early from jet lag, do consider coming out to the Campo dei Fiori first thing in the morning. About 6 o'clock in the morning is when the workers start to get set up, and by 7 o'clock, 7:30, they really are open for business. There's really nothing going on in Rome at 6 a.m. except here at the Campo dei Fiori. Well, even though it's so early, we managed to get some shopping in. A discount for the first sale of the day. Nice little t-shirt trophy, always a great gift to bring home for the grandkids.
Yeah, first customer.
Another nice thing about being here so early in the morning is that the local vendors are not quite so busy with other customers, and so there's a chance to interact with them and play with their dogs and talk with the lady about the market, about what she's chopping up there, rapid fire finger action with the knife, and get some nice shots with the dog and the dog's owner. Happy to say hello to the tourists at this hour a day. It's really something special to be down here at the Campo at 7 o'clock in the morning. And then we dropped by a fairly famous bakery. This is Roscioli, just a few blocks from the Campo dei Fiori, and of course they're open early. Up early on day 3 of our visit to Rome for, of course, another walking tour. And then on to a couple of churches. Here we are in San Carlo ai Catinari, typical of the Baroque churches of Rome from the 17th and 18th century. Rome has got about 500 churches, so that's always part of your experience in Rome, is to go inside and check them out. And just next to it, Via Giubanari is a short street, about a half mile long. Lots of little shops there on Via Giubanari. We're stopping at a typical deli here, a wine shop and deli, cheeses and cold cuts and meats on Via Giubanari. And into the Campo dei Fiori, a very colorful open market that happens in the mornings. And then carry on with our morning walking tour. The Palazzo Farnese is just 1 block over from Campo dei Fiori. It's one of the largest and most famous Renaissance palaces of the city, currently housing the French embassy. Well, walk behind the palace and turn right on Via Giulia. Continue along Via Giulia for a few blocks and then turn right, and then turn left on Via di Monserrato, which leads to a tiny intersection of 5 little lanes. Exit along the very narrow Via di Cartari, and then cross the busy Corso Vittorio Emanuele II and enter another highly decorated church, Chiesa Nova. Chiesa Nova will dazzle you with marvelous Baroque-style paintings on the ceiling and dome, along with carved angels and shimmering gold, all set in a vast spiritual space. The building next door is the Oratorio, which, although it looks like another church from the outside, contains offices and facilities associated with Chiesa Nova. There's a typical neighborhood cafe. The locals inside standing up at the bar having their morning espresso, maybe a cornetto, a little croissant. And it's a good place to use the toilet, especially when you're buying something. That's the etiquette in a cafe like this. They're welcoming you, and they'd like to sell you a little drink, and you can use their facility. Walking along the Via dei Coronari. Take your time as you wander along, passing the many antique shops and art galleries of this Via dei Coronari. It was also a street used by the pilgrims coming to Rome, and they would purchase rosary beads along the street and other kinds of religious amulets and ornaments and bring them to St. Peter's to be blessed by the Pope. cute little side alleys and staircases, and more of the furniture dealers, the antique dealers, and the restoration experts at work here. Via dei Coronari today has got several dozen art galleries and antique shops. Frequently you see little street fountains, which are great to photograph, but you don't drink from these. Instead, there are special water taps you drink from. When you get thirsty in Rome, you don't have to buy bottled water. You can use one of the street fountains. They work great if you know how to do it.
Observe the finger on the bottom of the spout, and then water shoots out a little hole on the top of the spout.
It's very rewarding in your travels to have some time like this where you can simply walk through these quiet, peaceful residential streets. Find the intersection with Cafe Pace on the corner and the rounded portico of Santa Maria della Pace at the end of the block. All around you is another charming slice of Roman life, with a small produce stand, ivy-covered buildings, the corner shop, the newsstand, gelato nearby, locals hanging out, and Piazza Navona 2 short blocks away. There's a special kind of food item you might consider purchasing when you're in Italy. It's balsamic in a spray pump bottle, and this was a spectacular array with different flavors. There was lemon, there was arugula, there was peach flavored, and this balsamic makes a nice gift to bring home, especially in all those little bottles. There are small plastic bottles with a spray pump. It makes it so easy to make your salad dressing at home. Nice item found in this little neighborhood corner market, right out in front of Cafe della Pace.
Hello.
And some friendly dogs. This is a peaceful street. You can tell the dogs are just hanging out, walking around without a leash. The owner's nearby, no doubt, perhaps sitting at the cafe on his cell phone. A couple of guys coming to check us out, real friendly fellows. This is just a terrific neighborhood with the locals out, and nice chance to snap some pics of the little kids with their dog, and friendly people here. It's a very relaxed pace of life, even though we are in the midst of the busy city. The small church of Santa Maria della Pace waits for you at the end of the block. Be sure to visit the small cloister in back, entered through a door to the left of the church. This charming little cloister plays a role in the architectural history of Rome because it was designed by Bramante, the initial architect of St. Peter's Basilica. And yet this is his very first work in Rome, done when he had just arrived as a young architect. Leave Pace via the little alley to the right as you face the church and walk 2 short blocks back to Piazza Navona, the famous outdoor living room of Rome. You'll probably find yourself coming through the piazza several times during the day and at night. One of the most beautiful focal points of the Piazza Navona is the Fountain of the 4 Rivers, right in the center. It was designed by Bernini, that greatest of all Baroque artists in Rome. And it's got a lion, there's swaying palm trees. There are 4 principal statues that represent the 4 great rivers of the great continents known at that time. There's the Ganges, the Rio de la Plata, there's the Nile, and there's the Danube. And we had some fun bubbles entering into our view there. You want to walk all the way around this wonderful sculptural complex and see it from all angles, and especially from the corner where you get the church in the backdrop. The Piazza Navona is the living room of the city, one of the main squares where people gather. This centrally located piazza is considered one of the most beautiful and lively outdoor spaces in the world, with its picture postcard perfect Sant'Agnese Church by Borromini and the stunning Fountain of the 4 Rivers by Bernini. 2 artists that you will encounter several more times in Rome, and along the way you're going to notice right away the Roman Senate. We'll walk behind now to another church, Santa Maria sopra Minerva. It's the only significant Gothic church in Rome. Even though Rome had been a religious and artistic center for 2,500 years, During the Middle Ages, it was relatively unimportant, and Rome produced very little in the way of Gothic architecture that has survived, except for this impressive church. Inside the church is a mix of Gothic architecture with some decor from the Renaissance and later, and there's a spectacular fresco of the Annunciation on the right side chapel. This was painted by Filippino Lippi between 1489 and 1493 during the Renaissance. His father was Filippo Lippi, who painted parts of the wall of the Sistine Chapel. Fra Angelico, another Renaissance painter, is actually buried to the left of the altar in the rear chapel, which also has Gothic tombs and Baroque angels covering the back wall. And there's a small monument by Bernini on a column. It's a memorial to Sister Maria Raggi in the Baroque style. You just walk out this little back door, which gives you a shortcut to the next major attraction on our routing, which is the Church of San Ignacio, one block behind. San Ignacio is part of the Jesuit College, which is located here. It's the main university for training Jesuit priests and brothers in their mission of educating the world. They're great teachers in colleges and universities. Out front of the church, notice the stage setting quality of the small piazza. It almost seems like an outdoor opera could begin here at any moment. Notice the many outdoor restaurants along this pedestrian lane. You can eat casually outdoors, maybe with some entertainment. You can have formal dinners inside or just a simple snack at a cafe. You come upon this interesting row of outdoor postcard racks and posters and books. Continuing on now towards the Trevi Fountain, made famous in various movies such as Three Coins in the Fountain and La Dolce Vita. It is very possibly the world's most beautiful fountain. Public passion is part of everyday life in this romantic city. It was especially lovely to see this wedding couple posing for their photographs, and everybody wanted that kiss. They really attracted the attention of the crowd, and people were just glued to the moment there. Everybody getting their snaps of the wedding couple as well. There's so many things to see, so many interesting people here at the Trevi Fountain with such a beautiful sculptural backdrop. Continuing walking along in this central part of Rome, 2 blocks further on the right side, you'll see the Church of Sant'Andrea della Frate, which is well worth a visit. You go into the cloister on the right side, and here you will find a very peaceful cloister. From here you can go in the side door of the church, and you will see another really beautiful sight, 2 angels carved by Bernini. Well, you've now arrived at Piazza di Spagna, with the curvaceous broad staircase elevating your eyes to the twin-towered Church of Trinità dei Monti. This piazza and the steps are absolutely bursting with people all the time. And to one of our favorite restaurants in the city, La Rampa. This place has the most incredible buffet spread. La Rampa is just to the right of the Spanish Steps. As you're standing in front of the Spanish Steps, you go around the corner past American Express, and you will find it there. And we always got to stop for ice cream at Giolitti's. It's about the best you'll ever taste. And then we're taking a stroll. It's getting late. The evening is descending now, and it's time to enjoy some of these city streets in the evening. Very safe and peaceful and really interesting sights to see. The little Piazza delle Coppelle is lined with restaurants that are really quite popular with local people. And then you quickly get to the Piazza della Rotonda. You'll see the Pantheon at night with more restaurants yet around this charming piazza.